In the previous session, we talked about how the glycogen is synthesized, various steps of glycogen synthesis. Now, we are going to take up degradation of glycogen. So the objective which we set for this session is, at the end of the session, the learner shall be able to know various steps involved in the glycogen breakdown or degradation, that is called glycogenolysis. The degradation, where does it takes place? Degradation or glycogenolysis, where does it takes place? So it takes place in both liver and also in muscles. Okay, degradation in liver and muscles and also other tissues, other peripheral tissues. Okay, of course, the purpose may be different. As for the liver is concerned, to supply the glucose into the blood, and muscles and other tissues, it is for the energy purpose. When we are talking about glycogen degradation and synthesis, are these two pathways are same in a sense? Suppose if you take one particular pathway, synthesis, and is the degradation reversal of the synthetic pathway? No, they are independent. They're completely different pathways, independent pathways. A different set of enzymes are present. A different set of enzymes are present. So for both the pathways, what does it mean, different set of enzymes? There is one set of enzymes, so they work in the glycogen synthesis. Other set of the enzymes work in the glycogen degradation. It is not the reversal of the pathways. Okay, so this is the way how the cell is regulating the particular metabolism. When you're having the two different pathways, the regulation of the particular pathway is better rather than if it becomes the reversal of one pathway and the other reversal of anabolic and catabolic pathways. Okay, what are the steps involved in the glycogen degradation? What are the major steps involved in the glycogen degradation? The first one is action by the glycogen phosphorylase. Action by glycogen phosphorylase. That is the one step. So this is the main enzyme of this pathway, glycogen phosphorylase. And what is the next one? Next one is action by the debranching enzyme. Action by debranching enzymes. Okay, how this debranching enzyme is acting. Okay, that is the second step. So this is the second step. What is the final step? It is final step to say the fate of glucose 1-phosphate. The fate of glucose 1-phosphate. Okay, so that is the third step. So these are the three main steps which are involved in the glycogenolysis. We can call it glycogen breakdown. Let us first talk about the first step, that is action by glycogen phosphorylase. Action by glycogen phosphorylase, main enzyme of this pathway. Glycogen phosphorylase is the main enzyme of this pathway. Like in the glycogen synthase is the main enzyme. This enzyme is pyridoxal phosphate dependent enzyme. What is this pyridoxal phosphate? It is a coenzyme of B6. Coenzyme of the B6. So pyridoxal phosphate acts as a coenzyme. So that is this particular enzyme is dependent on pyridoxal phosphate. What is the action of this enzyme? The action of this enzyme, it breaks alpha 1,4 linkase. Alpha 1,4 linkase. See, you can see there are some similarities with the glycogen synthase enzyme. Glycogen synthase enzyme makes the alpha 1,4 linkase. Opposite of that action is by the glycogen phosphorylase. Both the enzymes, they are not involved either making of the 1,6 linkase or breaking of the 1,6 linkase. That must be very clear. So glycogen synthase makes the 1,4 linkase and glycogen phosphorylase breaks the 1,4 linkase. Okay, now what I do is to show that one, the glycogen phosphorylase action, just I will draw a structure of the glycogen. the structure of glycogen. This is the structure of glycogen. So these are all can be called as alpha 1,4 linkase. All can be called alpha 1,4 linkase. All this called alpha 1,4 linkase. Here, this one is the alpha 1,6 linkase. Here also, this one is alpha 1,6 linkase. So, okay, alpha 1,4 linkase and alpha 1,6 linkase. So, by the action of glycogen phosphorylase, so there may be breaking of this one, breaking of this one, breaking of this one. Okay, then here also, so there is a breaking of this molecule, this glucose, and like this. Okay, then what happens here? Once the breaking of this one is taking place, what is happening this particular aspect? So here by the action of glycogen phosphorylase, a release of glucose 1-phosphate is taking place. Glucose 1-phosphate is taking place. Glucose 1-phosphate is taking place. The glycogen phosphorylase removes the glucose residues from the non-reducing end. Non-reducing end. Okay, so non-reducing end. Here also you can see here from there. So the non-reducing end. Here it is removing from the non-reducing end. Then ultimately what we get when the non-reducing end they are removed. Non-reducing end they are removed. What we get? We get the limit dextrin. How this limit dextrin looks like. This is the how the limit dextrin looks like. Again, you can see here 1,6 linkase, here 1,6 linkase, here 1,6 linkase and 1,6 linkase. So what happens? This you can see here 3 residues here. There are 3 residues here. There are 3 residues here. Okay, so that means remaining all glucose residues, they are removed from the non-reducing end. So that means that trimmed main chain, main branch, and also other branches it is taking place. That is the reason we call it limit dextrin. That is, we call it limit dextrin. The next reaction. What is the next reaction? The next reaction is the removal of the branch point. Removal of the branch point. So when the glucose, how the glucose residue is released. Glucose is released as glucose 1-phosphate, not as a free glucose. So this process we call it phosphorylasis. It is called phosphorylasis. Okay, so here inorganic phosphate is supplied and then glucose 1-phosphate is released. This takes place until there are 3 to 4 residues which are left either side of the branch or main chain. Okay, 3 or 4 residues are left either side of the branch and also main chain. So that is limit dextrin we call it. So it is called as a limit dextrin. It is like a tree, so there are branches are trimmed. Okay, then next we are going into the second reaction. So that what is the second reaction? The second reaction is action of debranching enzyme. Action of debranching enzyme. Here that is debranching enzyme. So there is debranching enzyme participates. Okay, debranching enzyme constitutes of, it is a single polypeptide. Debranching enzyme, it is a single polypeptide but having 2 different types of catalytic activities due to different places. Okay, then when you talk about this one, so then it can be called a bifunctional enzyme. A bifunctional enzyme. So a single polypeptide having different reactions, different types of reactions, 2 enzyme reactions it is carrying out. So this debranching enzyme. Okay, so what are those activities? The first one is glucosyl 4,4 the transferase activity, glucosyl 4,4 transferase activity. So that is the one activity. Second one is amylo, okay, once alpha 1,6 glucosidase activity. Okay, so bifunctional enzyme, single polypeptide having so two types of action. Okay, so the first part of the debranching enzyme, what it does, what it does. Okay, so the first part of the debranching enzyme, so that is action by the glucosyl 4,4, okay, transferase, so transferase activity. So what is the role of glucosyl 4,4 transferase activity? This debranching enzyme, it breaks 1,4 linkase. It breaks it 1,4 linkase and creates again 1,4 linkase. Okay, establishes 1,4 linkase. So breaks 1,4 linkase and establishes 1,4 linkase. This is just opposite to what happens in the creation of the branching. In the creation of the branching, there's a breaking of alpha 1,4 linkase is taking place. Establishing of alpha 1,6 linkase is taking place. To show this one, so I would like to write the structure of the limit dextrin again. So when I say this is the limit dextrin, okay. So this is the limit dextrin. When you talk about this is limit dextrin, what happens? So this 4,4 glucosyl transferase from the branch point, it is cutting. This one, it is cutting and transferring here. Here it is transferring here, cutting and the transferring here. Okay, it is cutting here, transferring here, cutting here and transferring here. Okay, then what happens? Once cutting and transferring, it is here. Suppose when I say this to differentiate, I will write this one, this point here. Okay. So what I do is just I transfer it. Then once I transfer it, what happens? I get like this and like this. Then what I will have here, the transferring taking place. Okay. Then transferring. So here what happens here? Once the transferring takes place here, so again this one is branch point is exposed. This branch point is exposed. The branch point is exposed. 1,6 branch point is exposed. So what happens? The alpha 1,4 linkase is broken. And again alpha 1,4 linkase is established by one part of the debranching enzyme. Okay. So then what happens? The next enzyme. So that is amylo. Next enzyme is amylo 1,6 alpha 1,6 glucosidase enzyme. This enzyme will be acting here. What it does? By acting here, it is releasing. What it is releasing? It is releasing free glucose. It is releasing free glucose, not the glucose 1-phosphate. Okay, by the action of this particular enzyme. So generally what happens when you see suppose if glucose 1-phosphate, so 8 glucose 1-phosphate release, the ratio is the free glucose is 1. So, okay, so as I said, the branching for every 12, so branching, every 12 residues branching will be there based on that one around. So 8 glucose 1-phosphate they are released, 1, so free glucose is released. Okay, then ultimately what will happen? What will happen? Here, again, when I write here, so I am writing here again. Okay, then what happens here? Again, the glycogen phosphorylase, they will act and it will break it. Glycogen phosphorylase, it will act and break it. What is it? Releases it releases again glucose 1-phosphate, supply of inorganic phosphate. Then what will happen? Here again we have, so these various residues are there. Then what happens? So there's a presence of somewhere here. Okay, then like this. Again, these three, they are transferred, and the branching point is exposed. Okay, this is the what happens. For every branch, it is happening. Ultimately, what will happen? So most of the glycogen is degraded. Okay, only so the glycogen with the trimmed branches will be remaining there. Okay, then what happens in the next aspect? The third one, the third step of the reaction, fate of glucose 1-phosphate. The glucose 1-phosphate is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. So by the action of a mutase, glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, so the glucose 6-phosphate, okay, so here in the fate of the glucose 6-phosphate in muscles, so it can go to the glycolysis, okay, then pyruvate, then here also in the liver, so it may be converted to glucose, and so supply to the blood might take place. Supply to the blood may be so taking place. Okay, so then, so apart from that one, the glucose 6-phosphate, it has a lot of actions are there. So glucose 6-phosphate, okay, in liver, so supply of blood glucose, okay, so then blood glucose, that is the one function. In muscles, it is energy, and muscles, liver and other tissues, glucose 1-phosphate, it may goes to the HMP shunt pathway. Also glucose 1-phosphate, glycogen synthesis. Okay, so then, so there also glucose 1-phosphate might go to the uronic acid pathway. So like that. Okay, so there are many roles of glucose 6-phosphate. It is there. So one of the role is supply of glucose to the blood and energy to the muscles and other tissues. Okay, Okay, so this is the fate of the glucose 6-phosphate. Let me now summarize the glycogenolysis. So after completion of the glycogen synthesis, in this session, we have taken up glycogen breakdown. Okay, in the glycogen breakdown here, the objective we set is various steps in glycogen degradation. Degradation takes place in liver and also in muscles and in other tissues. Okay, then both glycogen synthesis and degradative pathway, they are independent. So different set of enzymes, so they are present. Okay, steps, the first, second, and the third step. Okay, first one is action by the glycogen phosphorylase. Action second is the action by the debranching enzyme. Third one is what happens to glucose 1-phosphate. The first we have taken action by glycogen phosphorylase. Action by the glycogen phosphorylase. It is pyridoxal containing enzyme, pyridoxal phosphate containing enzyme, acts as a coenzyme. So it breaks alpha-1,4 linkase. Okay, then so here the alpha-1,4 linkases, here they are the alpha-1,4 linkases. This is alpha-1,6 linkase. Okay, from where the glucose residues are removed from the non-reducing end. So more non-reducing end, more glucose 1-phosphate they are released. So that is the reason glycogen has many branches, so that during the degradation, so many glucose 1-phosphate simultaneously they are released. They are released in a sequential manner. Okay, one by one, so they are removed sequential manner. Okay, then glucose 1-phosphate, then leading to the limit dextrin. So limit dextrin is trimmed branches, glycogen with the trimmed branches. Then okay, glucose 1-phosphate, till this one takes place. So 3 or 4 residues on either side of the main branch or sub branches are present. So the inorganic phosphate added and glucose 1-phosphate is released. So we call it phosphorylasis, the process. The second one is the action of debranching enzyme. It has contains the one single polypeptide containing the two enzyme activities. Glucosyl 4,4 transferase activity, amylo 1,6 glucosidase. It is a bifunctional enzyme, a single polypeptide. Okay, so glucosyl 4,4 transferase, it is breaking 1,4 linkase and establishing the 1,4 linkase, Okay, so by the action of amylo alpha 1,6 glucosidase, then it is the free glucose is released. Generally, what happens? Generally, if 8 glucose 1-phosphate released, then 1 free glucose is released. Okay, so then once the branch point is released, again by the action of glycogen phosphorylase, so glucose residues are released as glucose 1-phosphate. Okay, so glycogen phosphorylase by the action of glycogen phosphorylase. So at every branch point, the process is repeated. Like the transfer is taking place, and again this 1,6 linkase is exposed. So okay, so next is the fate of glucose 1-phosphate. So glucose 1-phosphate by the action of mutase leads to glucose 6-phosphate. So it has got the different roles in the muscles as well as in the liver. It is free glucose enters the blood. Muscles, it is glycolysis, energy is produced. So there are many different roles of glucose 6-phosphate. So it supplies the blood glucose, muscles and other tissues, energy purpose. Okay, then also it involves in the uronic acid pathway and HMP shunt pathway and also glycogen synthesis, like that. So this is about glycogen degradation. And with this we have completed the synthetic degradative pathway, anabolic or catabolic pathway. In the next session, we'll take up the regulation of both these pathways. Thank you.